Welcome back to the channel. My name is Daniel, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the two main resources that I use for my videos. These are the resources I use to make videos here on YouTube, as well as Instagram, Facebook, and so on. Now I'm gonna get straight to the point. The free resource I use is YouTube's audio library, and the paid resource I use is Epidemic Sound. So if that's all you wanted to know, you're free to leave the video right now. But if you wanted to know how and why I use these resources, so let's first talk about why you might want to use copyright-free music in the first place instead of using commercial music such as songs you listen to on Spotify, popular songs, things like that. And the first one is that you want to preserve your video and all the work you put into it from getting taken down or getting muted on the different platforms that you use. Videos that have copyright can be taken down or flagged down by the different platforms that you use. For example, from what I know, Facebook and Instagram can mute portions of your video when you use a copyrighted song. On YouTube, it can get taken down, it can get muted, or the publishers of that music can monetize from your video, meaning to say that ads will play in your video and they get the payment for that, not you. And following that last trail of thought, if you're trying to create a channel that you want to eventually monetize, or if it's a channel that you are monetizing, you lose the eligibility to be monetized for those specific videos that have copyrighted music. Now, obviously, I know some people do get away with this, but for me, I don't want to risk putting hours and hours of editing and effort, especially when you edit to the music. I don't want to waste all that time just to get my video taken down and things like that. So from the start, I'm going to use copyrighted music or licensed music from a paid resource. So let's first start with the free resource that I use, which is YouTube's audio library. Now, how you get here is you use YouTube Studio from your channel, and from there, you'll see a tab called YouTube Audio Library. And this is basically a library of different sound effects and music that you can incorporate into your videos without worrying about being flagged down, without worrying about being held liable for copyright infringement. You can search for music based on genre, mood, and things like that. So it's actually very user-friendly. It's easy to find tracks that work for the project that you're working on. And that's pretty much why I use YouTube Audio Library. It gets the job done. Now, let's talk about Epidemic Sound. Now, these aren't copyright-free in the same way as the songs in YouTube's audio library are. What you are paying for when you subscribe to Epidemic Sound is permission to use these music for your different projects in the specific platforms that you register yourself for. So when you set up an Epidemic Sound subscription, you're going to link this to your channel as well as any other social media platform that you plan to use the music for. Now, in terms of the features of Epidemic Sound, it's pretty much the same as YouTube's audio library in the sense that you can search for different tracks based on genre, mood, things like that. I do find that it's a lot easier to search for music in Epidemic Sound, and the user interface is a lot more friendly. It's a lot more visually enticing to use. But the main feature that I love about Epidemic Sound compared to YouTube's audio library is the recommendations. There is a page that recommends to you music that is similar to the different tracks that you've already published in your YouTube videos, as well as recommendations for music that are similar to the sounds that you download in general. This actually speeds up my workflow so much because most of the time I find what I'm looking for in this page and I don't have to take too much time searching. I actually find that when I'm using YouTube's audio library, I spend a lot of time looking for the right sound that I think fits what I'm trying to go for. I'm not just paying for good music on Epidemic Sound's library, which by the way is another thing I love. They have a really great library based on my personal taste, but it also really speeds up my workflow, and I think that's really important when you're creating content almost every day. You don't want to spend too much time on one task. And in terms of music, I find that I spend a lot of time when I'm using YouTube's audio library, but when I'm using Epidemic Sound, it's so much faster. Another cool feature about Epidemic Sound is you can download the music in stems. What does that mean? It means that, for example, I find a track that I like, I can either download it as is or download the different portions of the track. Meaning to say that when you download the audio file, you're going to get files for the instrument, the vocals, things like that. And you can start modifying, removing, basically customizing the actual track to your needs, to your purposes. So it's a lot more flexible to use. Since most of my videos are movement-based, I prefer music that doesn't have vocals. So if I find a track that I like but has lyrics to it, I can actually just remove that. And that, I think, is a pretty cool and useful feature from Epidemic Sound. Now, from my tone in this video, I'm sure you know which resource I actually prefer to use, but I still do use both resources. And this is mainly because I have 2 channels and I have yet to allocate a budget to subscribe my other channel, Team Dandinelli, for an Epidemic Sound subscription. But I will be working on that soon, and at that point, I will probably use YouTube Audio Library a lot less. Now, I didn't make this video to convince you to use Epidemic Sound. I think it really depends on your particular needs and your particular budget. I'll let you figure out what works for you, but hopefully this video has given you some insight into my personal process with the resources that I use, as well as how you might find yourself using these different resources. But if you are considering using Epidemic Sound, you should know that you can actually get a free 1-month trial. There's a link in the description box if you want to check out Epidemic Sound. Full disclaimer, it is a referral link, so if you do end up getting a paid subscription, it does help out my channel a little bit, which I actually will really appreciate. So do check that out. I hope this video was useful for you. Comment below your thoughts, and as always, I will see you in the next video.